Imaginarium, Dr. G. We've all heard it. We've got people coming out saying they're a lone wolf. They don't care what anybody thinks. They go their own way. They do what they want. They're going to carve their own path. Lone wolf. For an added bonus, if you're on Facebook or social media, you might even get a meme picture of Cillian Murphy smoking a cigarette, looking into the middle distance with a tough expression on his face. He doesn't care about what anybody thinks. Neither do I. I'm going to do whatever I want. Well, you know what I think of that? It's a bunch of crap. Stop it. It's a bunch of crap. You're not a lone wolf. Okay. You know what lone wolves do? They die. Okay. Their survivability is very low. And you know what they're doing? They're not roaming the woods, howling to everyone about how they don't care about what anybody else thinks, how about they're going to fight society. They don't care about society's rules, that they're nonconformists. No, they're looking for a pack to be a part of because that's what wolves do. Now, humans are like wolves, but cranked up to 11. We are very, very concerned about this. And I think what's behind a lot of this energy is the idea that the rugged individualist is the guy to be admired. So you gain attention and you gain social capital by proclaiming how much you don't care about what everyone else thinks. But of course, the whole enterprise is contradictory. I think it would be more honest if we would just be real about this and say, I'm actually kind of lonely and looking to be a part of something larger than myself. But nobody wants to say that, right? Because in our culture, that's weak. And you're supposed to go your own way and derive all of your everything from within, rather than try to be a part of something else and something a part of outside yourself. But the thing is, see, we're not really built that way. Now, you know who really doesn't care about what anybody else thinks? Tigers. Tigers. They're solitary creatures. They roam the jungles. They live most of their lives solitary. They take care of themselves. They really don't care what other tigers think. When they mate, they care for a minute, and then it's back to square one. It's back to the standard roaming the wilderness by yourself. But we're not tigers, right? We care because we are extremely social animals. And the more I see this online and social media, various platforms, the more I just roll my eyes at this kind of nonsense. There's nothing wrong with wanting to be a part of something social. There's nothing wrong with wanting to be a part of a group. And the more we just get okay with this, I think, the more we will not see the need for any of this silly posturing. In fact, I think a big part of this whole issue is that because of the mass media, which has not been around forever, you really didn't see this sort of thing, I think, until around the middle of the last century. When you had the mass media, you had this artificial, what I call a pseudo culture, where you have various TV shows and advertising campaigns and whatever, giving you this fake homogeneous idea of what culture is. And since it's pumped into our brains from day one, because we're exposed to it nonstop, as soon as we're born practically, we get the idea that there is this culture out there and it has all these rules, and because it's implemented by this faceless monstrosity, this huge machine, in the mass media system, we feel rebellious against it. And of course, all that ends up doing is making us rage against this empty non-entity. And rather than seeking out true companionship and belonging, which is what we were really wanting and at the end of the day. So I think we should probably put to rest this whole idea of the lone wolf being such a great and wonderful thing. Lone wolves don't like being lone wolves. They don't want that. What they want most is to be a part of a pack because that's where they're happiest. And we're very much like that as a species. In fact, definitely, I think that we're even more like that than wolves probably are. And the environment in which we evolved, it is not likely that a lone human roaming the wilderness completely alone had very much of a survival rate. even in hunter-gatherer societies today, the mortality rates are pretty high. So I'm betting that it wasn't any better back in the ancient times during which we evolved. And what did that do to us? Well, that affected our emotions and the way that we process information, the way that we seek what we seek in our environment. In this particular case, what we're seeking is belonging. So enough with the howling in the wilderness about how you're so tough and all that kind of thing. Yeah, I guess it's great and wonderful as an idea, but it's phony. It's not real. It's not real. I think there's nothing more human than wanting to be a part of something larger than yourself. It does not necessarily mean you have to diminish your own self-worth. That's, I think, the false dichotomy that people seem to think. But if you diminish yourself, then you actually diminish the group that you're a part of as well. So building yourself up and the group that you're a part of is, I think, a better ideal to strive for, rather than this phony baloney either or of I do whatever I want, I'm going to go my own way and do my own thing. At the same time, I'm longing for people to affirm that that's great and wonderful. It's a bunch of nonsense. So knock it off.